Want to make it hard to stay fat? It boils down to one thing: protein. This is the science between why some diets get stuck with plateaus and stalls, and other diets are able to see progress week after week and watch the scale melt. After dumping countless hours into helping people lose fat and being able to lose 70 pounds myself and keep it off forever, in this video, I'm gonna tell you how protein works and makes it effective for losing weight, why protein works so well, and I'm gonna tell you an exact plan how to make it hard to stay fat. So let's dive into the three main mechanisms that make high protein diets so effective and make it hard to stay fat. So let's dive into mechanism number one. But first, I wanna tell you a story about when I lost 70 pounds. I made a ton of mistakes. One of those mistakes being I didn't really set up my diet in a way that managed cravings, that managed hunger. So what ended up happening was one day, and I'm kind of embarrassed to tell you this, but one day I got so hungry and I didn't keep anything in my place because I thought if I don't keep anything in my apartment at the time, then I can't snack on anything, so I can't overeat. So this is what I did. I drove all the way to Walmart. I got one of those, like, not a pint, I think it's a quart, like those little like half tubs of ice cream. It was a Reese's peanut butter cup ice cream. I snuck it in to the place because I had a roommate at the time, and we obviously like shared groceries too. So I snuck it in, went into the room, like I even like hid the Walmart bag. No joke, I sat down and ate the entire thing of a whole tub of ice cream. I'm ashamed of it, but it's also not the first time that I made a massive mistake like this. And this leads me into mechanism number one, which is going to be satiety. And hopefully I can spell this right on the board. Satiety. So I want you to think about satiety like your body managing hunger levels. So if this is your body, you have a level where maybe you start the day off with not much hunger. And then as the day goes on, this hunger goes down. Or maybe you eat a little bit, hunger goes up. This is what satiety is. It's how full are you throughout the day. And this is where protein comes into effect and why protein is so effective for losing weight. Because what protein ends up doing is, it actually, when you eat protein, more in a good chunk of it throughout the day, when you eat a high protein diet, it lowers a hunger signal to your brain. It suppresses a hormone in your body called ghrelin and lowers that signal saying that you are full. Think about it like this. In school, you probably remember this, or if you're working, there's a specific time of the day where you look at the clock and you just know naturally that you are hungry. It's like if you have an early out in school, at the same class, you would always get hungry again because your body is basically sending you a signal saying, dude, this is the time you normally get hungry. That signal is ghrelin, and having a high protein diet actually does a really good job of lowering this signal. Now, obviously, if you're just extremely low on calories, you're gonna be hungry. But there are times that our brain is sending us this dang signal and it probably should be lowered a bit. Second thing that protein does to help with satiety is it actually lowers an insulin spike when you have a high protein diet. Now, a lot of people are gonna sit here and say, you shouldn't have carbs because they spike your insulin. And yes, carbs do spike your insulin, but carbs are very important. But when you incorporate more protein, what it actually does is it lowers this insulin spike a little bit. Also, when you eat more fiber too, when you lower this spike, you don't crash as much. So like, think about it like a roller coaster. When you go up on that roller coaster, and if it's a higher roller coaster, you are gonna go down faster. Your diet and your hunger cravings work the same way. If you have a bigger spike, you crash harder. If you have a lower spike, you don't crash as hard. So when you have a higher protein diet, you have a lower insulin spike and lower crashes. Those moments where you don't want to eat as many carbs or salty foods. The third thing what protein does when it helps with satiety is protein actually takes your body longer to digest it. So getting protein out of your stomach will take longer than when you are digesting carbs. So you can imagine, like, think about your stomach like a balloon. If you fill a balloon up with air and then you slowly release the air out of that balloon, think about protein as you slowing down that valve releasing. So think about it, when it expands, your body sends a signal to your brain saying, oh, you are more full because your stomach has more volume in it. This is a good thing. When you eat high protein, it takes your body longer to digest this, inherently keeping you full for a little bit longer. Now that you understand satiety, let's dive into the second mechanism about why high protein diets are so good for losing fat. So I want you to think about mechanism 2 like this. I want you to think about it like a toll road, which, to be honest, pissed me off more than anything else. I hate the dang tolls. Not only is it annoying to have to pay for the dang tolls, but they freaking back up traffic when I cross the dang bridge every single day. I think it's the stupidest thing ever, but I digress. So when I go over and I cross this bridge to go into work, I have to pay a little bit of money every single time to go over that bridge. So I have to go through a toll if you're unfamiliar with how a toll works, because you're just paying the city to use the road. Now, if you have they call it a sun pass. So a sun pass is essentially a cheaper version of using a toll because I'm someone who consistently goes through it. If you don't have a sun pass, you would pay more. So with the sun pass, you pay at a discounted rate. I have a sun pass because I live in Florida. So when I go through this toll, I am paying less money than someone who doesn't have this pass. Now, this is how mechanism 2 actually works, which is going to be the thermic effect of food. This is literally just a fancy way of saying your body, when you eat food, actually burns calories digesting that food. It's a weird thing to think about, but put it in the perspective. Like, imagine you're putting food into, you can't just do it without some sort of work. So your body will actually burn those calories digesting that food. Now, here's the cool part and an interesting part that I want you to pay attention to. Your body, if you were to eat, let's say, I don't know, like eggs and toast in the morning, your body would burn, when you eat carbs and when you eat fats, your body burns roughly about 5 to 10% of those calories through carbs and fats is burned just digesting the food. Now, the protein that you had in there, the amount of grams of protein is actually you burn 20 to 30% of the amount of grams of protein and calories, you burn that just digesting the protein. So if we were to do some quick math, if you had 100 calories of protein or fat, you would burn 5 to 10 calories just by your body digesting the food. Now, if you had 100 calories of protein, some quick math here, you would burn 20 to 30 calories just of your body digesting protein. Now, this isn't a super big difference, but this is anywhere from double to triple the amount that your body has, literally double to triple, just from eating a higher protein diet. This is a small difference, but this can make a massive difference if you are someone who takes more of a high protein diet. Now, this is how mechanism 2 is going to work, but it's extremely crucial that you understand mechanism 3 about eating a high protein diet to help you lose fat. So I want you to think about mechanism 3 like this. Very recently, I decided to start picking up salsa dancing classes. One, because I wanted to salsa dance, and our wedding is coming up, so I wanted to get good at dancing, because I am someone who has zero experience with this. I'm a straight white dude. I don't know how to move my feet at all. So we went to our first class over last Saturday, and like I said, I have no basis to this at all. So when we came home, I've been practicing now over the week to get better at this. But if I didn't practice, if all I did was went to classes every single Saturday, what would end up happening? I would work on it and get pretty good over that Saturday, at least learn something. And then if I didn't work on it, it would slowly teeter off and I would start to lose a lot of that skill, and then it would spike up again. And over time, I would still trending in the up direction. Now, if I were to practice during the week, I wouldn't lose as much of that as the weeks went on. And this is how mechanism 3 works when it comes to protein. Protein, or this mechanism 3, is going to be muscle preservation. I want you to think about it like this. When you are in a calorie deficit, so what this means is if you are eating less than you burn on a daily basis, what this means is your body will now start needing to take energy. So it takes that energy from fat. But here's a big issue. If you don't give your body enough protein, your body actually starts cannibalizing muscle and using it as fuel. Along with fat, it will use that muscle mass, which you don't want to get rid of. You don't want to get rid of muscle because it's giving you that toned look. What also ends up happening though, if you are not making sure you're eating a high protein diet, is Your body, when you eat high protein, has something called leucine, which is going to be an amino acid that essentially sends a signal to your brain to build muscle, to hold on to muscle when you are losing weight. So if you are not eating protein, this will not help with muscle preservation. Now that you understand these three mechanisms, I'm going to give you the exact plan that I want you to follow to make sure that you eat a high protein diet to make fat loss so much easier. So most people make two massive mistakes. They either Number one, they start to undereat on protein just in general. They do not get enough protein throughout the day. It's a very common issue for a lot of people. The second big mistake is that they only get the majority of protein in one meal, making it extremely difficult throughout the day to get more protein. Like I hear a lot of times with my one-on-one online clients is to say, how do I get more protein in my diet? Well, this is one of the biggest issues. People are barely eating anything for breakfast, barely eating anything for lunch, and then dinner rolls around, and that's when they get most of their protein. And they avoid a lot of one of these steps that I'm about to show you. So step number one, I want you to find your protein number. How many grams of protein that you should be eating every single day? This is a very simple equation that I want you to follow. You are going to take your goal body weight, your goal one, and then you are going to times it by 0.8. That's going to give you the amount of grams of protein that you should be eating every single day. And then you're just gonna track this religiously. Step number two, I want you to take that number that you just did the equation on how much protein that you should be eating, and now all I want you to do is you are gonna divide that number by 3, and you are gonna split that up evenly across all 3 meals, and you're gonna plan ahead of time about what you are going to get into your diet. You could also even include a snack into this to make getting more protein a little bit easier. So all you're doing is taking that number and dividing it over 3 meals and potentially 1 snack. And step number 3, a lot of times people are sitting there and say, well, I don't really know what protein foods that I should be eating. I think this is really simple, especially now with AI. All you need to do is log your food for the next day or 2, and from there, you're going to input it into any AI that you use, like a ChatGPT, and ask it, what are some suggestions of food that are higher protein that you would recommend that I include into my diet? And it's going to give you ideas. You have so much access to the types of foods that you can be having. I'm not giving you an exact meal plan to lose weight because those don't work for you. What works for you is having some structure, having a plan where you can figure out how to incorporate protein into your life. And if you need more help losing weight beyond just protein, then I have a whole email sequence to take you from off track with your diet to back on track that you can access by clicking the link in the description, completely free, where I send you a new habit, a new action to stack on top of each other every single day to make weight loss a lot easier. And if you need an exact plan on how to get lean in just 60 days, then I recommend that you watch this next video here.